Hello, good morning. Okay, so I just came back from a divination walk and I just wanted to do a unplanned manifestation Monday. And as I was about to do that, I realized that actually quality would be better on camera. So here I am. This won't be edited. We're just going to see what comes up because as I was walking and I was recording a story on my Instagram, this something just came through for my guidance. I actually shared it on my story because I was like, oh, I've never done this before in such a way, but why not? Because it was about saying yes. Actually, what I was talking about, it was about saying yes to spirit. Are you choosing you? Are you choosing yourself? And that when we, this is the thing with the manifestation Mondays, as much as I can absolutely answer questions, but when I try to go into, okay, this is going to be the structure, and this is what I'm going to talk about today, this is what comes up. And yes, the topics come up in the morning meditation, but when I start speaking, it's just so channeled that I can't really maintain that structure. So I just kind of gave up on it. And like, you know what, manifestation Monday, are going to be just channelings, and we're going to see where that goes. And of course, you're welcome to pop in live and also, ask or share whatever comes up, and then I can support you if anything comes up, or just, just being present with what is here. So the topic that I was speaking about today was about, are you saying yes to yourself? Because this is the week of the equinox. We're coming into this transition phase, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with transition phases, especially going from summer to winter. And it's that, the inhale in, the exhale out, how aware of you of the two pauses, right? Inhaling in and hold. And there's that pause of nothingness. And then when you were exhaling out and we're holding again, becoming aware of those pauses between the inhale and the exhale. And how can we utilize these energies right now, this coming into this transition period, not of like, oh, right, okay, can we get through it? Or how long is this going to last? Like, okay, we're just in the free state. It's like, it's not. It's this powerful movement, it's this powerful assessment, it's this clarity that comes from these pauses, from the stillness. So as I was speaking about that, and are you saying yes to you? Because this is what, it's so important. And I'm going to share actually in an upcoming video in regards to the equinox and how can we utilize this time. And it's about equilibrium, balance between masculine and feminine. And from this equilibrium, we get to ask ourselves powerful questions to create that clarity, to understand which direction we're going in, and not just from the masculine, okay, I know where I'm going, but with this feminine, is it heart inspired? Bringing that connection in as well, and combining the two and creating that union within you, because for any creation you need the two. You need the masculine and the feminine energy to create anything of value. And so my question today was on the Instagram was, are you saying yes to yourself? I was recently in a conversation with someone, and the person said, well, I would leave my partner. We've been together so many years, it doesn't quite feel right anymore. But I mean, if there was somebody else, then I would leave. But just without anyone else, I don't know. Just kind of like, what's the point? And there's no judgment on this, because I've been in this situation, not in this exact situation, but in the sense that when you have this guidance and this calling, like, oof, maybe there's something more, like, or even this isn't it. But we're in this place of, but it's comfortable, but it's known, right? Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's the place where you live, whatever that is. Maybe it's a hobby, something that you've been doing for a long time, which seemed like your passion. It's like, oh, it's not quite right, but it seems familiar, and I know it so well. Or, I already have this reputation of this, or people look up to me in this field, whatever that is for you. And we look for, well, if there is something else, if there's another partner, if there's another calling, if there's another job, then I would do it. So we're afraid to jump without having that security. And it's a false sense of security, because this comes from the mind. When you're tuned into your essence, when you're connected, you are security, you are secure, because you know that you are all. There's no fear of jumping. You know that you'll be caught, because you are, if you jump off a cliff, you are the one jumping, you are the cliff, you are the river that you may crash into. Like, you are all of it. Nothing can possibly go wrong. And you have that guidance to just navigating, supporting you with that navigation system, that inner GPS. You will know the next step. But we're afraid to do that. We're afraid to jump. It's like, if I have this next thing, if I see the whole staircase, then I will start to walk it. And the mind doesn't know. So many things. I mean, think of the most amazing things that happen in your life. They weren't scripted. They weren't planned. It's like, oh, this person came into my life, or oh, I saw this random ad, and then, oh, this random email, or just random situations. It didn't come from the mind. But the mind will tell you, no, I need to have a roadmap before I start taking the first step. And it doesn't work that way. It's about taking one yes step towards yourself. So are you doing that? And this is what the story was about today. And I'm about to go deeper into this and something, the guidance that I received as I was walking. And I see this feather in the water, and there's this light breeze that you can feel only when you're really tuned in. And this is why I started recording this, because I received this, and I hope that it comes out as powerfully as as when I just heard it. So I'm looking at this feather, and it moves. It's just like this, and it moves very gently on the water. And I got this guidance of this: when you're in this feather state. And a little bit of a background, because this is why I'm kind of reluctant to share the direct guidance, because there's some symbolism that, I understand, because I feel the frequency with which it comes. I also feel some things on the mind level, some information that comes up, and I want to make sure that I express it fully, translate it into words. And so the reason it was the feather, why that metaphor, what came up right away is that the Egyptians, they believed that in ancient Egypt, that when someone dies, right, their heart is taken out, and it's because the organs, they were mummified, with all the organs separate, so that the heart is then weighed on a scale, and you have the heart on one side and a feather on the other. And if the heart is burdened, is heavy, then the person goes to hell. And if it balances with a feather, if it's equal to a feather, then the person goes to heaven. And it was exactly this today. A feather that is light, you have this breeze, you have this essence, God, divinity. And it just blows a little bit, and the feather moves so powerfully because it's light, because it trusts, because it's not burdened. Or stone would not be able to be moved like this along in the water through life. But the feather can. And that's what we're called to. It's not after life, not heaven or hell later, right now. Is your heart light or burdened right now? Are you living out of those musts, shoulds, expectations, obligations? Ooh, throat. So many of you watching, and this is such a common one. Is your heart burdened by the lack of expression? I'm afraid to speak my voice. I'm afraid to say what's true. Ooh. And I'm feeling this frequency of so many people, and it's bringing tears to my eyes, and it's this block. I don't feel free. I don't feel safe. And yet the freedom is available to you in any given moment. It's available here right now. It's about choosing it. Are you saying yes to you? And in every moment, like I said, it's like this, it's that. Are you a feather right now? Is your heart, would it balance with a feather? In this moment, not after life. In this moment, what are you choosing? And we go into, well, I hope someday it will be. But why not now? The present moment is the only place of power. There is no now. So many people, on their deathbeds, I wish I lived the life that I wanted for myself, not the life that others expected of me. Not those obligations, duties, but what is right for me. And how do we do that, right? Because some of you may go into, right, but I can't quit my job. Like, that's a should or a must, or, well, I have to pay my bills. And it's not just about removing things. It's also about bringing your soul, your heart, all of you into what you're doing. Can you bring God into your everyday. And if God feels like a heavy word, I know for me, for a long time it was, because there's so much baggage around it, right, in our culture. Use another word: life, essence, universe, source, divinity. Are you inviting that into every action? You're in the morning, right, and you're so pissed off with the traffic, let's say. Are you bringing God into this action, into driving? Or either like, no, I'm going to bring God in later in my life when, I'm doing something of meaning. Are you bringing God in when you are cooking? When you're eating? When you're, welcoming that nourishment into your body? When you are getting yourself ready, are you, in the mornings, are you welcoming God in? Are you saying like, wow, this is my vessel, this is my body, I'm so grateful for me. This is my opportunity to express this gratitude, right? It's like, let's say I'm brushing my hair, like, oh my God, my hair is amazing. And like, I'm so grateful for this body. I'm so grateful for my health, for all my organs functioning the way that they are. Are you bringing God into the mundane, into the everyday things? That is how you lighten your heart. And another thing, this is why I'm making this video, why I'm making this live, because this will not be edited. This will seem childish. This will seem childish because I'm using a metaphor of just something that's tangible that was kind of translated into words in this way. When I was little, I watched the cartoon Pocahontas. And it's a girly cartoon, so men watching, just bear with me, because you will recognize yourself in what I'm about to share. And there's a powerful song there, Colors of the Wind. And I remember when I first tuned into my feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, this is crucial, bear with me. Tuning into that feminine energy, and I described to someone like, oh my God, it's like that. I get that song now. I get that song. It's literally that song. The whole journey of life, it's that song. Because what she says in the song is, she explains to the Englishman that came to her land, who's just there like, what is the land worth? And he just sees the physical things around him. He doesn't speak frequency. He can't understand it. He just goes, we're supposed to conquer this land. We want to find the gold. We want to see what it's worth. We want to bring it back. We want to make money. And it's not that this is not, the masculine is just, it's about just the, I see, I do, I think. It's the analytical mind. It's not negative. The greed is the shadow masculine, but, leaving that out of the story. And so there's this Englishman that is the masculine energy. But he's just captivated by Pocahontas, by her. And she explains to him in the song that, can you paint with the colors of the wind, that every single stone, every creature, everything has a name. That if you chop down a tree, you will never know its potential. That underneath it all is a frequency. How can you not see that? And in the song, it begins with, I'm sure that you've seen so many things. That's the analytical mind. It's like, well, I know. I'm sure. I can think my way through life. And Pocahontas speaks, you've been to so many places. I'm sure that you know. But how am I the savage when I'm the one so connected to earth and you are not? And how is it that you are so lost even though you are so knowledgeable? And that is really the dance of the masculine and the feminine. And so the question is, with the lightness of the heart, with this breeze that today you just need that breeze. If you are willing to be the feather, you can be moved by the subtle breeze, by your intuition. It can be so simple, but only if you're willing to open to that state, if you're willing to be guided. When we're burdened, when we have these fears, expectations, obligations, we feel it's like, but life is putting that on me. No. When we put that on others, and therefore we feel the burden of that on ourselves, that's how it happens. So if we're willing to be light towards ourselves, towards others, we will be carried just by a simple breeze. And so the question today has come up, can you, that was the encouragement for today to share with all of you, can you be willing to be still enough, to be light enough, to hear the wind speak to you? And by wind, I mean God, life, source, consciousness, the elements. It's only in deep meditation, right? Think of your day. Let's say you need to get from your home somewhere else, and let's say you're walking or you're taking a bike, and you're not consciously aware of the wind, right? It's like, oh, right, you're in your thoughts, or maybe you're thinking of what you're going to do today, or maybe you're looking at the people around you, you're thinking of the tangible things. But when you're in the meditative state, when you just stop and witness your body, a light breeze will be like, whoa, a hurricane. If you're just so subtle, so in tune with what's going on in your body, and then a light breeze, you will really feel that change, like, whoa, it's loud. Same with when you really quiet down and there's a subtle noise, it's going to be loud because you're willing to be quiet enough to hear it. So are you willing to do that today? Are you willing to quiet down enough to hear God, life, consciousness speak? We're lost in the mind. We believe that the mind will get us out of it. It will give us the solution. But it won't. So instead of quieting down, we're like, okay, more of these perspectives, more of these thoughts, more of different ways to look at a problem. But actually the way that we get to the solution is when we quiet it all. And can you allow spirit to move you? So that is the invitation today. That is why we're at 16 minutes. That's why I wanted to make this live today, because that's what came up. What does it look like for you today to just one step, one teeny tiny needle moving step forward to become lighter? It may not be, today, get out of that relationship, leave this job, lose this job. Sometimes divinity moves you that way, right? It's like that person that I said at the beginning. It's like, well, I would do it. Like I would follow what it feels right for me if I had a backup plan, if there was another thing on the side. And sometimes life gets us to that place. And actually, interestingly enough, that person was feeling the same way about their job, and then they got fired, and they're like, oh, I was actually not upset about that. I was feeling really good because I needed that little push. You don't need to wait for that. You don't need for your life to fall apart to create a new one, a better one. All you need to do is just quiet down and allow, just when you're that feather, allow life to carry you. Everything you want is easy. Everything you want is available to you now. And the path towards that is made. Can you relax enough to trust it, to surrender? And a big part of this is trusting life, because this is what most people don't do and are too afraid to do. And that's the work that I do with my one-on-one clients. And I actually just recently had a client that the transformation was incredible, going from burnout to I trust life in 3 months. So that is absolutely possible. And just what is your one step towards that today? I thank you so much for watching. There will be, I'm going to do a live soon, because we have the Equinox weekend. I have a free event coming up on Wednesday, an Equinox Ceremony. This is usually a paid event. This year I am opening it up to everyone because I really want to support you in this transition period, creating those intentions, seeing what does this period offer to you, particularly and specifically. So we're going to be deepening into that. If this resonates, there's going to be a link below, but I will talk about that soon. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm wishing you a powerful day.